So the first thing that we need to talk about is the format of if else. And one thing that is really crucial in any if else condition is the expression in your parentheses. Okay, let me see. If else. Let me share. Yes, any question? Okay, let's see. Let's review, just a review. For example, yes, any question? Saya macam dengar ada orang nak tanya soalan tu. Okay, so for example, if I have my statement, I say if somebody is still all right. So let's begin. Let me say it back. So if and then you have condition, and then you have your statement. So if you only have one statement, you just leave it like this. Okay, this is for single statement. And if you have more than one statement, right? So if you have more than one statement, what you do is you need to put your curly braces. This is your condition. And then you need to put your curly braces. So you have your statement number one, statement number two, and so on. Okay, so this is your if condition. And we also talk about the if else. So this is just single condition, meaning that if that condition is met, then if that condition is met, then you just say the statement and you don't have any option for any other condition. So it's a single condition. For example, if your password is correct, then it will allow you to enter the email or something. But if it's not correct, maybe you have another thing. Okay, then we talk about the if else. So meanings that you have two options. What you said if the condition is true, and then you have your statement. Otherwise, so if it's false, this is for false, and then you have your condition. And not condition, the statement. Or maybe a default statement. For example, password entry. Okay, so if password okay, then enter. Otherwise, you block your entries. Something like that. You cannot enter. So that's a simple example. And we also talk about the if, nested if else. What does it mean by nested? So nested meaning what? Macam sarang kan. So this is like if else within the if else. An example is something like this. You have if your condition, and then you have another one if condition, and then you have else, and then you have another one else. So this is the nested if else. So this is nested inside if. You can also have maybe sometimes like this also. You can have another one nested if condition, and then you have also another one else. So this is like if else within the if condition. Okay, and then we also talk about the condition. Condition or expression. So the thing that we need to make sure that the value inside this value, is it true? Is it true or false? Okay, so when we talk about the true or false, then we need to have one relation operator, and then you also have something like logical operator. Okay, if you remember, what does it mean by relation operator? Ada siapa ingat? Anybody remember what does it mean by this? Ramziah, adik awak ingat ke? Do you remember what's the relation operators? Kerana tak semestinya Ramziah, tapi sebab nama dia kat atas sekali, sebab saya panggil dia. Okay, so tak ada orang Awak ni ada ke tak ada ni? Tak ada?
Tak ingat, doktor.
Ingat. Ada yang boleh ingatkan? Anybody? Remember this? What's the relation operator? Relationship between left and right? Anybody want to try? Don't be afraid. Tak perlu takut. Saya dekat online. Saya tak boleh nak ketuk awak. Okay. Somebody tak boleh unmute. Alright. Yes. Let me see how to unmute you guys. Okay, dah boleh?
Okay, boleh doktor.
Okay, awak nak try ke?
Equal, not equal. Yang tu yang doktor.
Yes. Equal, not
Less
equal,
than.
big. Apa lagi?
Less than or equal, greater than or equal.
Yes. So that's the relation operator. relation operator, that is the relation between left and right. So this, they are what? Less than, bigger than, less or equal, bigger or equal, and you also have exactly equals. So this is the relation operator. So meaning that the value, for example, x, you give x equals to 2, assigned to 2, and then y is assigned as 3. So when I say x is less than y, so the value of this is what? This is true. And in C, it means the value is 1. Okay, so true is 1, 0 is false. Remember that. So that's two things. You don't have to worry about 0.5 or anything in between. Okay, so that's just an example. And logic operator. What's logic operators?
And or not.
Yes, so this, they are and, double ampersand, or, so the modulus sign, double modulus on your keyboard, and then you also have and or not, and then not something. So this is also give you what? This is also give you either true or false. Okay, so now if I take something like this, I'm using x equals to 2 and y equals to 3, and I use it as my logical operator, something like this, x and y. So x and y, so 2 and 3, so both sides has values, right? So both sides has values, so means that this is also true, and the value right here is 1. Why? Why is it not either? Because this one is not 0 or 1, but this has a value, because a value is true, meaning that non-zero, any value other than zero is true. So any value other than 0 is true. You can also say something like this, x is less than y, and y is equals to x, exactly equals to x. So you can also do something like this. So x equals less than y, so this is true, which is 1. Y equals to x, this is 0, so the output of this is 0. Because one truth cannot be on the same level as false. So it's 1 and 0, true and false, it's false. But if you change this, if you change the logical operator into or, then this is 1. Okay, so I think you understand this from your algebra class. So that's easy. Okay, so the thing in if else, if nested if else, is the key point right here is this, the conditions, and also how do you place your if, something like this. How are you placing your if else? So be careful with this, and then what? This one, the nested if else. Okay, so this is a block. Be careful. And we also talk about how you can make a mistake. For example, if I have if let's say x equals to 1. And then I have if, let's say y equals to 1. And then I have else. So you can see that this statement, there's no statement here. So no statement here, meaning that if there is no statement, then this immediate statement, this immediate line, this guy is your statement number 1. Like this, like we did in our initial part, initial single statement. This one. This is the single statement. See? So this is your statement number 1. So let's say I have another one. This is statement. And then statement. Okay. So meaning that this whole part, because why? This whole part is your statement number 1. Why is it because statement number 1? Because if else is, this is nested if else. So this is one block of statement. So that's why if you didn't put your parentheses, it's okay, as long as you understand that the second if belongs to the condition above. Okay. Now the problem right here, if you notice that I also write this thing, x equals to 1. So x equals to 1. This equal sign, single equal sign, is what? This is an assignment, right? This is not a relation operator. This is an assignment. Okay, now, if you understand from what I said before, the value right here, is it true or false?
True.
True, yes, true, because x equals to 1, that is just a value. There's nothing to say about relationship either. So this is just the value. Which is equals to 1. So in this case, if you make a mistake like this, it was supposed to be either true or false. But if you make a mistake because of the symbol right here, so this is called logic error. So logic error. Why? Because logically you're supposed to put a relation operator or logical operator, but because you make a mistake in typo or something like that, you want something to happen, but something else happened. You want your intention is different than what you actually have, something like that. So it's logic error. It doesn't match. So one of the logic error. You can have many other logic error, but one of the example is something like that. So that's logic error. All right. Any questions so far? So I suppose there should be no questions. Then let's go with our. Where is my PowerPoint? All right. All right. So this is an example of truth table. Okay, I think we already did last time, this one. And precedence table, I also explained about this, what you need to count first and then what you need to count after that. Okay, and also I also gave you an example on this. Okay, let's see this one example. Did I tell you what's the value for x and y? Okay, let me see. I think we don't have it here. Oh, I didn't put the value of x and y. Let me see. Is there anything previously? Oh no, sorry. Okay, so I forgot to put the value of x and y right here. Let's just say something like this. So if I say x equals to 5, 15, y equals to 10, and then z equals to 2, something like that. Okay, so first thing first, if you see the difference between this number 1 and number 2 is the parenthesis, this parenthesis, because the operation is the same. This is x plus y, 10, xy, x over y, and so on. So this is just to show you how to evaluate first, which one to evaluate first. Actually, number 1 and number 2 are the same, but the parentheses make it easier which one to evaluate. All right, now if you remember, you can see that you need to do the plus minus first. Do the plus minus first, and then your relation operator, and then lastly your logic operator. Okay, so in this case, you can see that you need to do this one first, x plus y, and then x divided by y, and then z is not equals to 10. Okay, so if you go to this one, this is x plus y is 25. X divided by y, that is just 1.5. Let's assume that this is just integer. Okay, so 15 divided by 10 is 1, because 1.5 for integer is still 1. And then z is not equals to 10. Z is not equals to 10, so that is also 1. So we just do something like that. So this is true, because z is 2. Okay, let's see this one. Now the next operator is what? Is this inside. Okay, 25 is less than 10. So the next step is 0, because this is false. And then the next step is 1 is equals to 3. This is also 0. So you can see that this is 0 and 0 or 1. So which one to evaluate first? Is it this or this?
And first.
Yes, and first. So meaning that this one is 0. So the value, the whole value, so 0 and 0 or 1. So evaluate this first. So this is 0 or 1, and then the value is 1. Okay, so that's quite easy. So, and then if you say if x equals to this one, what's the difference between the number 3 and number 4? It is actually the same thing, but this one is the same as this one. So what you need to do if you saw something like this, if you see something like this, just do your operation first, mathematical operation first. So the only difference is just this one. It already been simplified. Okay. So everything is the same. I don't want to tell about the answer. Just try to evaluate on your own. So the value actually is what? The value here is false. All right. Now let's try practice this one. Okay, determine the Boolean value. What does it mean by this equation? These questions meaning that is it 0 or 1? So the Boolean value is just 0 and 1, the base 2 number. All right. So you are given this declaration. You declare the char key is a character and the value is m, integer I, jk, and double x equals to 22.5. Okay, now if I put something like this, I plus 2 is equals to k minus 1. What's the Boolean value for this one?
0.
0. Okay. So k minus 1 is 11. So I plus 2 is 7. So 7 is not equals to 11. 711 is convenience store. All right. And then 3 times 1 minus j is less than 22. So this the value right here is 0. How about this one? Just use your, don't use calculator, just use your brain. 3 times 1 is 15. 15 minus
1.
7. Yes, 1. So 15 minus 7 is 8. So this is 1. Okay, how about this one? How about the next, the third one?
0.
0.
0.
0. Any other answer? Any other answer? Most of you said 0. Okay, let's try to check this. K plus 3, we have k is 12 plus 3 is 15, and then you have minus j. Minus j is minus 7 times 3 times, what's this? Is it 1 or I or L? Small letter L. Sorry?
1.
1, are you sure? Is it 1? 1 is like this, right? Okay, so maybe so this is 1. This is what? So actually this one is purposely done so that you need to understand the error that is made in this statement. So this is an error. Why? Because no data type, and then no value, or in short I can say no declaration. So the whole thing is not declared. So you didn't, in this case, you have character key and integer I, j, k, but there's no integer L right here. So this value is not declared. Okay, so meaning that if it's not declared, what kind of value is it going to take? Okay, so in this case, since you didn't declare this, because you are not declared, so it will take
0.
So you can check in your C programming. Sometimes it's alphanumeric value. Sometimes it has a really big value. Okay, so yes, the value is actually 0, but I want to tell you about this one, the error that you make. So this one is what? This one is another logic error. Maybe you want to write as K or something like that, but somehow you just K is close to L, you just type in L, perhaps. So you want to make something, but something else came out. So that's the logic error. All right, now let's look at this one. String A plus 1 is equals to string B. Not string, character B. I think this is another one that I forgot to declare. Okay, but just take the concept of this. String A, not string, character A plus 1 is equals to character B. So this actually is what? If you do operation something like this, it means you need to take ANSI value. So what does it mean, ANSI value? I think it stands for American number, something like that, American number. So ANSI value meaning that, for example, character A is not this, has a value. I forgot, is it 97 or 95 or 165? I forgot the value. Try to check the value. And then A is not the same as, not the same. Let me write in C notation. So A, character A is not the same as, small a is not the same as character big A. So this is why the difference between when you put on your creating your own password, okay, sometimes they ask you to put capital letter or maybe a symbol or something like that. So because why? Because every symbols and every character has its own value, ANSI value. So now let's go back to this question. Is it true? Yes, this is true. So the value is 1. Because why? Because B is character A plus 1. So it's extra 1. And C is what? C is character A plus 2, and so on. It goes on. Right. Now let's look at this one. Key minus 1 is bigger than character P. So this is just trying to find the value. So key minus 1 is M. So if you go to your ABC table, so M, N, O, P, so this is P, K, L, M, so this is L right here. So if you say key minus 1, which means that M, character M, minus 1 is this value. So it's saying like L is bigger than P. So this is false. So the value is 0. Because you have right here -1. Okay. Any question on this? No question. All right. So be careful. Be careful with your syntax, not syntax, your logic error. Because why? Because this is the condition that you need to make it right. Because otherwise, you might trying to find you want to find a true condition, but instead you give a false condition. Okay, now let's see this one. This for float and double numbers. Let's see this one. Float exact is 2.99833 and the estimate is 2.99. So if I put something like this, so this is might be an example of when in your calculus class you want to find the value of fx, something like that. So this is f prime x. So this is x plus 1, right? So f of x plus delta x. So this is just equals to f of x plus f prime at x at space right here. And then you have x plus delta x, something like that. Okay, so this is what does it mean? Example of this is what? This is for estimation. So you want to estimate the value, and then this is your exact value. For example, square root of, let's say square root of 3, something like that, 3.99. Okay, so it's close to that example. It's not exactly like this, but you want to find it, something like that. Okay, so you want to find the error. So if you want to find the error, so this is your condition. So if your exact value is actually the same as your estimated value, and then you print out that the approximated value is your estimated value. So you put, this is what you calculate in your programming. And otherwise, maybe this is just an example. They are equal, or maybe you can say, because this is not the same, maybe I can change this one, this statement, try for more data, something like that. Okay. So you want to find this. So what's the output? If my exact value, this is a float, and this is your estimate. Both are floats. But this one has more significant figures compared to this one. Okay. So my question is it going to be the same? Is it going to be the same? Yeah. Let me share it again. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, now if I let's try to practice this. Where is my screen? Okay. and try to explain for that. Control C. Okay. I think where is I need to. Where is this one location? Okay. So if you see that this is my try again. Let me change this into try again. Okay. So if I run this, it says right here, I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Okay, so if you can see my screen, it says right here, try again. Okay. Why is it try again? Any suggestion? Okay. Because by right, this is almost the same. Almost the same. Almost like 3. Close to 3. By your opinion, this is close to 3, but in C programming, it's not equal. So this is the value, the output is right here. They are equal, but they are not equal. Okay. So how can you change the statement so that you see this is almost equal? How can you change this statement? This condition right here. Because there's no, I would like to say, there's no way that the estimated value is exactly the same value when you calculate it using calculator compared to your estimation. There's no way that it's going to be the same. Another thing that maybe next time, if you're going to take numerical analysis, next time maybe in your 3rd year, you find that there's no way the estimated value is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so in that case, how to change this? Any ideas? Macam mana nak tukar benda ni? Supaya macam contohnya 2.99833 is close to the, sorry, let me say that again. So that 2.99 is actually close to the exact value. How to change that statement? How to change it? Macam mana nak tukar benda? Okay, ada ni tak? Ada macam apa? Tak ada ni, tak ada siapa boleh bagi cadangan. Macam mana nak tukar, dia ubah dia punya ni supaya walaupun dia maybe this is like 2.9945, close to 2.998. Ada cadangan? No idea at all? Ataupun awak tak faham apa yang saya tanya? Yes? Apa dia? Saya macam dengar suara. Kind of heard something. Apa dia?
I have no idea of it.
Kuat
I
sikit.
have no idea.
No idea.
Yes, no idea.
No idea. Okay. So something like this. Maybe you can do some kind of. I can change this. For example, I can say make. Okay. So I can do something like this. Perhaps this is like a 2 point. Let's say example. My estimated number one is 2.998, for example, like that. And then my estimated number two, when you do another time, so maybe this one is 2.99, and then estimated number three is 2.997, something like that. So it's getting close to the exact value. So in that case, so maybe you can say, so what's the difference between this and this? They are only differed by the decimal, the value behind the decimal. So I can say something like this. I can say if, mana saya punya ni, cursor ni. Okay, so if I can say this is absolute float value, what for estimate minus my exact is within some, let's say 1e to the minus 2. So this means that if the difference is just on this part, or maybe on this part, within this 0.0101, not that one, 0.01. So this is 1 e to the minus 2. So if it's just difference between 0.1 decimal number, so I can say I can just print out my estimate value. Something like that. So if I say something like this, then it doesn't matter if it's 2.99 or 2.997. So as long as the value is less than this one, for example, let's say this one is what? This one is less than 1.E2. This one is okay. This one is okay. This one is also okay, because this one is exactly, no, not that one. Yeah, not that one. This is not okay. Okay, so if you take this one, it is better because now you can see that it will apply to the 2 decimal digits. Okay. Boleh faham ke? Can you understand this? Guys, can you understand this? Boleh ke? Ke saya tak nak jelaskan lagi?
Faham, Miss.
So this is one example. So if you see something like this, you immediately say that. So you use what? You use the relation operator, and you also use, what's this? This is from your hashtag include math.h. So because why? Because you need to put the library function, because you're using the function from built-in in C programming. Okay. Okay, now I think it's better to take let's say 8-minute break. So just take 8. And then we'll continue at 9 a.m. All right. Okay. So going to pause this. So we talk about how that by changing your conditional statement, your program is going to change. So pay attention to that condition inside the if function. Okay, now let's talk about, I don't want to talk about this yet. Let's talk about this one. See, new sharing. Let's talk about this example. You want to calculate the temperature conversion such that the program should ask the user to key in temperature units, which are Celsius, either Celsius, Fahrenheit, Kelvin, or Rankine, and then the value of your temperature. Okay. So when the user type in the input, the program should ask which output unit is desired. For example, if you put 100 degrees Celsius, the question should be, is it your output, you want it in Kelvin, or is it you want it in Fahrenheit, or do you want it in Rankine? And then display the value and then the units. Okay, and then you exit the program. And then this is the conversion equations. So if you put in your Fahrenheit, if you put in like 140 Fahrenheit, you just do, if you want to find it in Celsius, degree Celsius, then you use this equation. Okay, so if you put it in Fahrenheit, you need to put this into equation. And if you want to find it in Kelvin, then you need to find this one, put it, and then key in using Fahrenheit, put it in right here for the C. And then if you want to find it in Rankine, just put the equation in the Rankine equation. All right, now what's your strategy? Your plan of your programming. So what is it that is asked? So it just asks to find the temperature conversion. So you want to find the unit of the converted temperature. And what is given to you? Your unit conversion equation. We write it back right here. This is unit conversion equation. And then you need to determine how many input and how many output. I think it's something. How many variables or constant and their data type. And then which selection structure to be used. What does it mean by this one? Apa maksudnya? What does it mean by selection structure? And then how to put the program into a flowchart or maybe into a pseudocode. And then after that, you translate into C. So there are three things. One is flowchart. And then you write pseudocode. And then you write your C program. Okay, number one is your building your flowchart. So if you want to build your flowchart, you need to determine what's the input. Where does your input come from and how many you need to key in. And then you have your selection structure. How many options? And your process and action and output, how many output. So if you remember that, just try it. So if you, I think this one. So remember that this one, it says calculate the temperature conversion, so that the program should ask the user to key in temperature unit. Celsius, Fahrenheit, and then it's value. Okay, so this is input number one. Your unit. And then after the user type in the input, and then the program should ask which output unit is desired. So input number two, this is your unit. Is it C, F, K, or R? Is it C, F? And input number two is your value. So you put in, let's say it says what's the unit for your temperature? Maybe you can say C, and then after you key in the C, then it will ask back what's the value of the temperature. And then after you key in your value, if you key in Celsius, it will ask these three other unit. Another example, if you key in, key in Celsius, you ask this K, F, or R. Okay, if you put in Kelvin, and then it will ask Celsius, F, or R, and so on. So as long as it's not your key input degrees, then you need to ask another unit, something like that. Okay, so you decide that. Input from what? So from my explanation just now, where did you get your input from? Is it from the data? Is it from your keyboard? Is it from your files? Which data does the input came from? Yes?
Keyboard.
Keyboard, yes. So keyboard input. So since this is a keyboard input, okay, so you need to put the printf. So that's easy. Just for now we use keyboard input. So what's your syntax is printf. You know this. But in building your flowchart, remember this is just flowchart, not yet C program. So you can your symbol for input is this guy. And then how many input? This is just 2 input. How many options? You have either Kelvin, Celsius, or Fahrenheit, and so on. So let's just straight go to this one. So what should I use? My structure in this case, I use else if, if else if. So I'm using if else if. So I'm using this. For example, I didn't have the space above right here. I didn't have the space above. So if I input C, I'm calculating Kelvin, Fahrenheit, or Rankine, and then display the value. This is quite crude because there's another one is, for example, if I put C, and then another option is to enter, is it K, F, or R? So you need to choose another one. I didn't have enough space right here, but this is just a simple version. Okay, but if I key in K, I will calculate other than K. And if I key in F, I will calculate other than F. If I enter Rankine, then I will calculate other than Rankine. Otherwise, and then my message is false input. So in this case, this is simple. I'm not asking, for example, if I put, this is a capital, if I put like small c, or maybe I put my input is C, B, D, or A, maybe something like that, then this is my default. Meaning that what? Meaning that it doesn't apply in every condition. So it doesn't apply, then this is my default case. And then it will stop my programming. So this is how I am using if and then else if, other than. Okay. So I didn't put your, so for pseudocode, for pseudocode, it's also almost the same thing that I already told you. Say the pseudocode. Right. How about pseudocode? So actually, pseudocode, in my opinion, is much easier than flowchart because you just summarize into an algorithm from the questions. Okay, pseudocode, you can say something like this. You can start and then enter unit C, K, F, or R. And then after that, ask to enter its value. And then after you enter the value, and then ask to specify converted unit, con. Okay, and then after that, we just do conversion, display, output. So that's easy, and then you just use end. So pseudocode is much easier than in most cases. In my opinion, I also prefer pseudocode because this is just a simple algorithm to follow, and then about the syntax and how you proceed with this is depend on your skill of using that particular programming. All right, so any question from this example? Okay, so let's go back to my, where is this? Let's go back to this. To this one. If I'm going too fast, please stop me, because if nobody stop me, I'll just go on. Okay. So are you guys okay? Can we go on?
Okay, doctor.
All right. Okay. So this is called conditional operator. So this is called conditional operators. This is the only thing that to simplify, if you have only two options, not one options, not three options, just two options. So this is the same thing as if else, single one. This is same as if else, as single if else, meaning that there's only two options. Yes or no, yes or no. There's nothing in between. So is it yes or no? If you say this, it means this one. If you say this one, it means another one. All right. So this is the logic of this. So this is just two ways. Otherwise, in most cases, you use if else. If you want to make it easier, or maybe you want to make your program less dense, meaning that it's not too much, then it is better to use conditional operator. Okay, your syntax. This is your syntax. Conditional operation, is it true? And then if it's true, it goes to the expression number one. It's false, then it goes to expression number two. So this is for true expression, and this is for false expression, meaning that if it doesn't fit this condition, and then it will go to the expression number two. For example, if I pay the bill on time, no penalty is given. Otherwise, 5 ringgit will be charged. An example of this is if time is less than 25, meaning that the bill date is on 25th day for each month, and then my penalty is 0, so there's no penalty. Otherwise, I will be charged 5 ringgits. Okay, so I'm using simplified version. If I write it into a function, something like this, so it looks something like this. If I'm using a function fx, okay, fx. So this is just like p equals to 0, p equals to 5 if t is less than or equals to 25, and then this one if t is bigger than 25, something like that. Okay, so this is just equivalent to that. So in our if else, this is like else. Else without specifying your condition. So otherwise it looks like that. So this is what? This is otherwise. Else. Something like that. Okay, now if I want to change this example right here into conditional expression, I can say penalty. This is my conditional operation. Penalty equals to 0 or 5. Penalty equal to 0 or 5. So meaning that if I met this condition, then I will go to this one. If my time is 24, then I will go to this one, or maybe 25. This is my penalty value. If my time is 26, then if it's false, let's use a different color. So if it's false, let's see, it will go to this one. We use different colors. So my conditional operator is the same, excuse me. My condition is the same right here, just use a different structure. Okay, let's see an example like this. I want to convert, I want to convert the above function into if else and conditional operator. Okay, now let me try. One of you maybe first into if else. Let me see. Do you have penalty? I'm not sure if you can annotate this. Okay, maybe you can write in your chat box. What's the how to turn into if else? This one. Okay, can somebody want to try? See, I won't go on until one of you try to do this.
Doctor,
Yes.
can you keep the value of the x?
Value of what?
X.
X. Value of x. No, you don't have to specify the value of x. Okay, so we got one answer from the AJ. if x is less or equals than 2, and then my answer is this. Otherwise, 3x plus 2. Yes. So if you go to the chat box, I'm going to rewrite what your friend do right here. There's no need for the value of x actually. So this is, if you want to put this into your if else, this is my condition. And this is my statement. Okay, so condition, it's up to you which condition that you want to pick, because if you pick this one, this is if and this is else. So this is number 1. Okay, I don't want to make it confused, but if you want to be another option is you can say this is your if and this is your else. Number 2, you can do that. It's not a problem. As long as you know what to do. Okay, but in most cases, I think it's better to just, I don't want to confuse any of you. So let's say this is my condition. If x is less or equals to 2. Okay, so this is my condition. And then my statement is what? My statement is your friend is said answer is 2 times x plus 3. Otherwise, my statement will be 3 times x plus 2. So I'm just converting into if else. Okay, you can see that I didn't specify this, but you need to understand that in order to put an expression, a statement, you need to have some kind of another variables. Okay, any question on this? So just this from this, that. You can see that for else, you don't have to put the condition because this is understood. Understood other than this one, and no, this is two, yeah. Other than this, it will be bigger than that. Okay, so this is no need to specify condition for else. Tak perlu sebab maksudnya kalau selain daripada tu, yes, it's another statement. Okay. Are we clear on this? Okay. Yeah. Yes, macam saya mendengar macam ada orang nak bercakap je.
Yes,
Same
okay.
thing. Same thing. Let me give you an example. Another example for, let's say, I can also put something like this. Fx equals to, let's say, x plus 1 if x is less than minus 1. And then I will say equals to x if x is between minus 1 and 1. And then x minus 1 if x is bigger than 1. Now, how to change this? How to convert into if else? how to convert this into if else. Maybe we can use the Jamboard so that we can see this one. Stop sharing. Let me use the Jamboard. So if you go to the chat box, I'm going to put the Jamboard and then see done. Okay, let me write this again. Let me write this again. If I have convert into if else, I have my function fx equals to x plus 1, x, and then x minus 1. If x is less than minus 1, and then I have if x is between 1 and minus 1, and then in between 1, and then I have x is bigger than 1. Now, how do I convert this? Let me share for those who cannot see. Okay. Now, how to change this into if else? Now I have more than one condition, more than two conditions. Okay, anybody want to try? If x equals to minus 1, x tak siap lagi, okay.
Miss, do we have to write on the Jamboard?
Yeah, you can write on the Jamboard or maybe on the chat if you like. If you don't have, it's better for you. Which one? I'm going to convert this into a Jamboard. All right, thank you. I'm not sure who. So we have two answer. One is from the Jamboard, and then we also have one answer from the chat box. All right. So if you see that this is using more than two conditions, meaning that you need to use the if, else, if. Okay. So this stands for, this is for if, this is the condition for if, and this is for your else if, and this is your for else. Okay, and this is how you write this one, else if. One thing that you need to be careful, if you see that, you need to be careful with this one, because this one is between -1 and 1. So that one is between -1 and 1. So if you see this this one, and if you see that, if you see another one, this one, another answer in chat box, this is specify, you specify your, it says this is from chat box. I'm talking about this one. You said else if, and then I have X. Let me see that again. Bigger than 1, less than 1. If X is bigger than or equals to -1, and X is less or equals than 1. Okay. Actually, these two are the same. These two are the same. Remember that for an example that I did right here, in, I think you can see in my slides, in chapter slides and examples, my C slide, I don't remember the slide number, C slide in chapter 3 about grade. Okay, so this is also okay, this is also okay, not a problem. Because if you're using else if, meaning that it will already counted the one that is on the left side. Okay, this one is okay, it's not a problem. You can also, this is one example. You can also do something like this. Let's say, any question on this? Any question on this condition? On this condition? Any question?
No.
All right. So I can also, you don't have to put like, you don't have to follow your friend. For example, this one, I can use my function. I can say this is just an X, this is an F, and my F. All right. And I can also use, without using if else, I can also use if, several if. Let me, unless the question is asking you to use if else, then you need to use if else. Otherwise, you are free to choose, but you need to understand how to use both types of conditional statement. Okay, you can also use Can also use like this. If x is less than -1, and then my f. If x is not less, is bigger or equals than -1, and x is less or equals than 1, and then I use my f, and then I use if x is bigger than 1. Okay, this is another option. If you're asking, for example, which one to use, which one is better to use? Okay, this one, let me use this one, means that you have a good programming skill, because you understand the usage of if else if. Okay, this one is, I don't want to say this is bad, but this is simple thinking, just simple. Because you take every condition and then set it into the if condition. This is a simple one. And this is using your skill. It's up to you. Okay, now let's go back to our original intention. Any question on this? I'm going to ask you again. Any question on this? All right, no question. Then let me put it again. Background, I'm going to use black. Oh, that's better. All right. Okay, let's see. Fx equals to, I think, is it 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3. If x is bigger than 2, is it bigger? Less than 2. If x is less or equals to 2, and then I have 3x plus 2 otherwise. So that one is for otherwise. All right, now let's go back to our original question. Just now we did for if else. If else, done. And then we need to convert into conditional operator. Okay, so if you remember what we did just now, conditional operator is what? This is the condition. And then you have a question mark. This is your true statement. And then you have an option of false statement. Okay, now, can anybody try to convert this into conditional operator? Okay, this is okay, and it's okay. But I think you forgot this one. This let's see. We rewrite that again. You forgot this one. This question mark. Okay, you forgot this question mark. Is answer is equals to this or that, and this is your condition. Two condition. This is simple one. Simple, right? Compared to the if else condition. But you need to understand from this point of view, understand the syntax of this. Okay, you can also change this. You can change this. Change your condition. And if you change your condition, you need to change your statement, of course. All right, I think that I'm going to stop at this point. And I want to, if you look at your course plan, test 1 is next week. Okay, so your test 1 is next week, and then it will be on not Tuesday, on what's the date? On Thursday. Okay, topic. How about the topic? Topic is, I'm going to tell you on next week, on Tuesday next week. Okay, and about the quiz number 1, we have more than 75 answers. So I'm not sure, it's like half of the class, more than half, yes, but more than that of the class. So I think many of you try to answer it twice, or maybe thrice, more than one time. So that's why I didn't give you your mark yet. Markah saya tak bagi lagi. Why? Because there's so many answer from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your first answer. So your second or maybe your third answer, I'm going to delete that answer. Okay, because I forgot to change the condition of my quiz. All right, so any questions so far? How about lab? Is there anybody who is unable to attend the lab? Anybody? You, who are you? Let me see who's trying to talk. Chong, yes, Chong. So you cannot enter physical, right?
Yeah.
But can you enter using online?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so that's okay, as long as
Okay.
you are able to enter. So far we are going to use online. It's not physical unless you say that you can come, then it's okay. I don't want to put on hold on that. All right. So any question from today's lesson? All right. So since there's no question, so I'm going to stop right now. If you have any question, please ask. Don't be afraid to ask. I'm not going to eat you. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum and good morning.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Have a nice day.